Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. And today we're going to explore something truly fascinating.
Oh, yeah.
The origins of astronomical symbolism
Okay.
and its connection to ancient beliefs. Our source material is an 1881 text
All right.
called The Astral Origin of the Emblems by Reverend J.H. Broome. Now, don't let the year throw you off.
Right.
This book is packed with unexpected depth and some pretty fascinating details about how people viewed the night sky
Yeah.
centuries ago.
What's intriguing about this text is that it's not just about stargazing.
Right.
Broome goes way beyond simply identifying stars and constellations. He delves into the realm of symbolism,
Yep.
suggesting that ancient astronomers encoded deeper meaning and spiritual truths within the very design of the Zodiac.
Okay, I have to admit, when I first saw Zodiac in 1881 text in the same sentence, I
Yeah.
thought this was going to be a pretty dry read.
Sure.
But you're saying there's more to it than just your typical horoscope column.
Definitely. Broome meticulously connects the familiar zodiac signs to specific star patterns, arguing they weren't arbitrary,
Right.
but carefully crafted representations of the constellations themselves. For example, he points out how the curving horns of Aries, the ram,
Yeah.
are mirrored in the arrangement of stars within that constellation.
Wow.
You can actually see it if you look at old celestial globes.
So it's like those ancient astronomers were playing a giant cosmic connect the dots game.
Yeah,
Instead of just creating a picture, they were embedding deeper meaning within the lines.
exactly. Take Taurus the bull, for instance.
Okay.
Broome argues that even the inward turning horns of the bull are represented by the position of the star Aldebaran within that constellation.
Wow.
It's quite a detailed and deliberate system he's proposing.
This is already blowing my mind and we're just getting started.
Yeah.
But hold on, before we go too far down the rabbit hole,
Sure.
does any of this hold up historically? Did other cultures see these same shapes and assign similar meanings to them?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
While Broome's interpretations are rooted in his 19th century perspective and beliefs,
Okay.
the idea that ancient civilizations saw meaning and stories in the stars is absolutely widespread. We see it across the globe, from the Egyptians to the Babylonians to the Native American cultures.
Right.
Many cultures saw the heavens as a reflection of earthly events and spiritual truths.
Okay, so we're seeing a pattern here. Ancient people were way more tuned into the night sky than most of us are today.
Yeah.
But Broome takes this idea of a star language even further.
Okay.
He proposes the existence of a Hebrew alphabet formed from star patterns. Each letter, he claims, corresponds to a specific constellation.
This is where things get really interesting.
Yeah.
Broome's theory is that ancient astronomers could have used these constellations not just as symbols, but as literal building blocks for a written language. Imagine looking up at the night sky and seeing not just stars,
Right.
but the components of words and stories.
What?
It's a whole new level of cosmic connection. I'm picturing ancient scribes looking up at night, not to check the time, but to compose their next epic poem using starlight. It's like some ancient cosmic code waiting to be cracked.
Right.
But is there any evidence to support this star alphabet theory?
Well,
Could it actually be true?
Broome's specific claims about a Hebrew alphabet haven't been widely substantiated.
Okay.
His work raises some intriguing questions about the origins of written language.
Right.
There are examples of other cultures using celestial alphabets. Take the ancient Egyptians, for instance.
Okay.
They used hieroglyphs that incorporated astronomical symbols.
Right.
And if we look at the history of writing itself,
Yeah.
we see that early scripts often used pictographs and symbols derived from the natural world. So while a full-blown stellar alphabet might be a stretch, the concept isn't entirely outlandish.
This is why I love deep dives like this.
Yeah.
Even if some of the ideas seem a bit out there.
They make you think about things in a whole new way. The night sky suddenly feels less like a random scattering of stars and more like a giant puzzle with hidden messages waiting to be decoded.
And that brings us to another fascinating layer in Broome's work,
Okay.
the biblical connections. He weaves key stories from the Bible,
Right.
particularly the fall of man and the promise of a savior, into his interpretations of specific zodiac signs.
Wait, so he's seeing biblical narratives playing out in the stars?
Yeah.
Give me an example.
One that stands out is his interpretation of Virgo, the Virgin.
Okay.
He sees her holding a branch or an ear of corn as symbolizing the seed of the woman,
Right.
a phrase from the book of Genesis
All right.
that refers to the eventual arrival of a savior who will defeat evil.
Okay, for those who might not be familiar with Genesis,
Right.
this passage is basically a prophecy about a future Messiah who will redeem humanity.
Exactly.
So Broome is connecting that prophecy to the constellation of Virgo. That's pretty bold. What else did he find in the stars?
Well, he saw Scorpio the Scorpion as representing the serpent's enmity towards Christ,
Okay.
drawing a parallel between the scorpion's sting and the serpent's temptation in the Garden of Eden.
Right.
And it doesn't stop there.
Wow.
He goes on to connect Capricornus, the sea goat, with Christ as the sacrifice,
Right.
signifying his death for many, as described in the book of Isaiah.
Okay.
And finally, Pisces, the fishes, symbolize believers united with their Messiah.
Wow.
He's weaving a whole tapestry of biblical narrative across the constellations.
Wow. Broome really saw the Zodiac as a cosmic storybook.
Yeah.
But was this kind of biblical interpretation unique to him?
Right.
Or did other cultures find similar stories in the stars?
The idea of connecting celestial events to spiritual narratives was definitely widespread.
Okay.
While the specifics of Broome's interpretations are rooted in his own religious context,
Right.
many ancient cultures saw the heavens as a canvas for their own myths and beliefs. For example, the Egyptians saw many of their gods and goddesses represented in the constellations,
Right.
and their mythology was deeply intertwined with the movements of the stars.
It seems like we humans can't help but project our own stories and beliefs onto the cosmos.
Yeah,
We've been doing it for millennia.
exactly.
But I'm curious, how did Broome view the origins of astronomy itself? And where did he think all this knowledge came from? We'll delve into that in the next part of our deep dive.
Sounds good. It's easy to look back at ideas from the past and think, well, they just didn't know any better back then.
Yeah.
But what strikes me about Broome is his deep respect for ancient knowledge.
Right.
He believed those early astronomers weren't just fumbling around in the dark. He saw them as highly skilled observers who developed sophisticated systems for understanding the universe.
So he wasn't just writing this off as some kind of primitive superstition. He genuinely thought there was real wisdom embedded in those ancient astronomical systems.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And get this, he even traces the origins of astronomy all the way back to the family of Seth, the son of Adam,
Right.
based on his readings of ancient Jewish and Arabic texts.
Wow.
He saw a direct lineage from those early biblical figures to the complex astronomical systems developed by later civilizations.
Wow, that's quite a claim. But I guess it makes sense within his worldview.
Right.
If you believe that knowledge and wisdom were passed down from the very beginning of creation,
Yeah,
then seeing astronomy rooted in those early biblical figures isn't such a stretch.
exactly.
But this brings up another interesting point.
Yeah.
Broome was pretty critical of later interpretations of the Zodiac, particularly the ones we inherited from the Greeks and Romans.
That's right. Broome felt that those later interpretations, often heavily steeped in mythology and symbolism,
Right.
had obscured the original meanings intended by the creators of these astronomical systems. He believed those early astronomers were trying to convey profound truths about the universe and humanity's place within it,
Okay.
and that these truths have become muddled and distorted over time.
So he saw those Greek and Roman myths as a kind of corruption
Yeah.
of the original pure knowledge embedded in the stars.
Right.
Kind of like a cosmic game of telephone,
Yeah.
where the message gets passed down through generations, details get lost,
Right.
new interpretations are added,
Exactly.
and the original meaning becomes increasingly obscured.
A perfect analogy.
Right.
And this is where things get really fascinating.
Okay.
Because now, centuries later, we have our modern scientific understanding of the universe.
Yeah.
We have telescopes that can peer into the depths of space, revealing galaxies billions of light years away.
Right.
We have theories about the Big Bang and the expansion of the universe.
Whoa.
We've landed probes on Mars and sent spacecraft beyond the edges of our solar system.
It's mind-boggling how far we've come. But here's the question.
Yeah.
Does all this new knowledge completely invalidate Broome's work?
Right.
Or can we still find value in his perspective, even in light of all we've learned since then?
That's the beauty of exploring ideas from the past.
Yeah.
While we may not agree with all of Broome's conclusions or his methods of interpretation,
Oh, hey.
we can still appreciate his dedication to uncovering the deeper meaning behind ancient knowledge.
Right.
And perhaps even more importantly, his work reminds us of the power of wonder,
Yeah.
that human desire to find patterns and meaning in the world around us,
Right.
even in something as vast and seemingly unknowable as the night sky.
So even though his science might be outdated,
Yeah.
his spirit of inquiry is still relevant today. He encourages us to look up at the stars and not just see points of light, but to imagine the stories, the knowledge, the beliefs that have been projected onto those stars for millennia.
Right.
It makes you wonder what other messages might be hidden in the vastness of space waiting to be deciphered.
Exactly. And that's what makes this exploration so exciting. Now, the final part of our deep dive, we'll explore what Broome's work ultimately means for us today.
Okay.
In a world where science and technology often overshadow our sense of awe and wonder.
Okay, so we've journeyed through Broome's pretty unique perspective on the Zodiac.
Right.
We've delved into his intriguing, I'll say, star alphabet theory, and we've considered how his ideas hold up against modern science.
Yeah.
Now for the big question, what does all this mean for us today?
That's the core of it, isn't it? What's the takeaway for the modern listener gazing up at the same night sky, armed with centuries more scientific knowledge? I think Broome would argue that while we've gained a lot, we've also lost something precious along the way.
You're talking about that sense of wonder and meaning, right?
Exactly.
Like, we can explain the mechanics of a supernova, but do we feel its power the way our ancestors did?
Exactly. Broome emphasizes how early astronomers weren't just passively observing, they were actively seeking deeper truths about existence itself. To them, the stars weren't just celestial objects. They were a source of wisdom, a reflection of the divine, a way to connect with something larger than themselves.
It's like we've traded awe for analysis. We can break down the composition of a star, but have we forgotten to be moved by its beauty and mystery?
That's the challenge Broome throws down, even today.
Okay.
He reminds us that knowledge is more than just facts and figures. There's a dimension of meaning, of connection, of wonder that enriches our understanding of the universe and our place within it.
Okay, I get that. But how do we recapture that sense of wonder? Like, I can't just unlearn everything I know about astrophysics and start seeing constellations as divine messages.
Right. It's not about going back in time. It's about finding a balance. Broome himself wasn't anti-science. He embraced the knowledge of his day, but also recognized the limitations of a purely rational approach to the cosmos. He encourages us to use both our heads and our hearts when contemplating the vastness of space.
So it's about appreciating the scientific marvel of a black hole, while also acknowledging the humbling sense of mystery it evokes.
Exactly. And maybe, just maybe, if we allow ourselves to approach the stars with a bit more wonder and curiosity, we might rediscover some of the meanings that have been lost or forgotten over time.
This deep dive has truly shifted my perspective. I'm looking at the night sky differently now. It's like a whole new layer of meaning has been revealed. Broome might not have had all the answers, but he definitely asked the right questions.
Those questions are timeless, aren't they? What is our place in the universe? Are we alone? What messages, if any, are encoded in the celestial tapestry above us? These are the questions that have captivated humanity for millennia. And they continue to drive our exploration of the cosmos, both scientifically and spiritually.
So if I'm hearing you right, the takeaway isn't about accepting Broome's interpretations as literal truth. It's about embracing his spirit of inquiry. His willingness to see beyond the surface, and his deep appreciation for the mysteries that still lie hidden within the vast expanse of the night sky.
Precisely. Broome's work, despite its 19th century perspective, offers a valuable reminder. Even in our age of advanced science and technology, there's still room for wonder, for mystery, and for the pursuit of meaning in the face of the unknown.
And on that note, we encourage you to step outside tonight. Look up at the stars and let your imagination soar. See if you can find those ancient constellations, trace those starry outlines. Maybe, just maybe, you'll catch a glimpse of the stories and the wisdom that have been whispered through the cosmos for ages. Until next time, keep exploring.
Keep wondering, and keep looking up.